this is
Dynon Skyview.
yeah, this is the Dynon Skyview system. They make a small 7-inch, which is what this is, and a larger 10-inch model. Because the panel is pretty small, the 7-inch fits pretty well. The 10-inch, you'd have to do something to make it bigger to fit. And if you wanted to put 2, you probably could like maybe change this up and put 2. But one of these will give you everything you need. You know, you got navigation and all your flight instruments and engine and all that. So I like it. It's a good, simple, you know, layout. So it's got the, you know, the normal display with the airspeed and altitude, the horizon depiction, and then this is all your engine instruments, RPM, oil, temp, and pressure, and then the cylinder head temps and the EGPs, and then fuel flow in here, and fuel totalizer, which I need to go back and reset because I just topped it off. So go into the menu, into the fuel menu, and then just tell it it's full, and it resets it.
You can't hear me, can you?
No, these mics have to be like right on you, otherwise they don't pick it up.
Not yet. There we go.
Yeah, you might have to kind of bend it and put it more directly in your lips.
Okay.
Yeah, there it goes. So that's the instruments there.
That's really cool.
For the Jabiru, you just want to see that the oil temp is coming up. And so, you know, ambient, it's sitting at 65 degrees. So by the time we hit 75 or 80 degrees, it's definitely warmed up and it's rising. And that's what we want to see. And we want to see about 200 on the cylinder head temps. By the time we taxi, we'll be at 200 and we'll be ready to go. And then we'll just adjust our altimeter setting for field elevation. And that's pretty much it as far as that goes. It's a real simple layout. The only other control is the trim lever here, and it's set in the middle for takeoff. This is the comm radio. It's made by MGL, and it has a built-in intercom. And it's not a bad intercom. This is what we're talking on right now. It saves adding a separate box, but it's a little bit finicky with the noise. So the Sonex has a small cockpit, you know, has a fair amount of noise with the metal fuselage and all that. And so it's a little bit tricky for the comm radio to adjust to all the situations, you know, for flight, for ground ops, and so it's just a hair bit finicky. And then here we got fresh air vents, so you can use those as you like. Seat heaters, electric seat heaters. I put those in, yeah. Because there's no cabin heat, so.
Oh, there's no cabin heat?
No.
Engine at all?
I didn't do it because it's real tight inside the engine compartment. And so I thought, well, I'll get it flying. I'll come back to it at some point. And then you know how that goes. It's like, well, I don't know when I'm going to come back to it. I saw this seat heater kit on Amazon for like 35 bucks, and I was like, well, that'd be perfect. So I just opened up the upholstery and slapped those things in there, and it works great.
They've had to clear so much cactus out of that area.
Oh yeah, I bet.
It's one of those areas that I think I've only mowed once. So that pretty much will just make more cactus.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of work ahead of them there. But they like the soft ground.
Yeah.
Wow, the weeds are kind of encroaching up here, aren't they?
Yeah. It's probably getting close to needing a little bit of maintenance.
Yeah, have to spray. Get the sprayer working again.
So the run up will just run up to 1800 and check the ignition. There's no carb heat to worry about. We got about 60. 70, 80, 90, something like that. That's both within spec. And then other than that, everything else is good. We're warmed up, oil temp's up, so we're ready to go. And it looks like we're clear over there. Springs East traffic, Sonex 604 Charlie Mike, departing 17 Springs East. So we'll make a takeoff with 1 notch of flaps. Trim is set, our pre-takeoff checklist, fuel is on, canopy's latch, switches are set, mixture rich, and we're ready to go.
Caution.
Yeah, we got a few little bumps out here. So just a couple of words. This control stick, when I drilled it, I got the hole just slightly enlarged. There's just a tiny bit of slop in it that I haven't fixed yet. Okay. So I apologize. It's, it's on the to-do list. You'll feel it's a little bit sloppy right around center.
I don't need to take over the stick. I'm okay.
Well, I figure you want to kind of experience if you're thinking about going that route. And then the rudder. Here's the ball.
I can't put my feet on the pedals really. Yeah.
It takes very little rudder coordination. When making turns, very, very little rudder. I mean, you can almost just ignore it once you're flying. It has real light, easy control forces. We're talking just fingertip pressure, is all it is. It makes it super easy to fly. It does just what you tell it to. You don't really got to fight anything. And it just, making a, 20, 30 degree banks, it feels really natural, and it'll really groove on you. It's a great airplane to fly. It takes very little back pressure. Like I'm flying hands off. Just the slightest little bit of back pressure as the turns get a little steeper. is all it takes.
Okay. Don't make me do donuts up here. I don't want to get sick like Mom got me sick.
Yeah.
Mom put me into we were doing donuts and I didn't do so well with that. So, just a little FYI. But I haven't been up since she sold her Cessna.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years ago.
Bring this back just a bit. So the other thing is, you know, it's a small compact airplane, and the wings, they're pretty short. You know, even though it's a low wing, there's not a lot of wing in the way. And so if you're looking at something on the ground, you know, a lot of times it's just as easy just to kind of dip the wing and get a look at it. You know, so I really enjoy the visibility, and it's just a real fun airplane to kind of just take out and maneuver.
Really surprised how smooth it is for such a small plane.
Yeah.
You know, like the Cessna, I just thought that this would be a little bit more of a rougher ride. But.
Yeah, and so we are actually, you know, the airplane fully fueled is, what is that, about 800 pounds fully fueled. And then with both of us, you know, we're at 1,200 pounds right now. And that's pretty much full gross weight. And we took off, we climbed out fine. You know, we're sitting at 10,000 foot density altitude right now and flying good. Even in turbulence, the plane kind of displaces, but it feels real solid. You know, you don't feel the airplane flexing at all. It's super stiff, and it rides through turbulence pretty well. Alright, you want to fly a little bit? We're here, we're flying. Hard to turn down.
Alright. Keep going straight. So, you redo the rudders.
Yeah, and you won't need much. So pull the nose up a little bit. A little bit more. A little bit more. Right about there is level flight attitude. So if you, a little bit higher. About that far below the horizon.
Okay.
Right about there is level.
Right about there?
So that's your sight picture. And then see how the nose kind of dropped a little bit. I'll just roll in just a hair trim, maybe help you out just a bit. And then don't overdo it. It just takes real light pressures, and a lot of times when you first start it, you kind of chase it around a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you settle down, it gets easier.
Is it just a little bit of a bank, or does it kind of just want a bank with me in it? Because I'm heavier?
Yeah, and because, you know, I'm sitting on the side, there's no aileron trim. It kind of banks one way when I'm solo, and it kind of banks the other way when I have a passenger. I gotta kind of split the difference. If I had a movable trim tab, I could kind of tweak it for either condition. But the way it is now, it just needs a little bit of pressure to kind of keep us going straight.
We go on back a little bit?
Oh, we can, yeah. The airport is right out over there, about 7 miles or so. And so this is a pretty typical operation. You know, we're running a little bit higher power setting than normal. We're burning more gas, definitely, because I haven't really leaned out. And we're doing 130 indicated and 152 true. So it's scooting along pretty good.
This is the thing also about FPV. Once you get up in the air, everything looks so different.
Yeah.
last year, didn't you? Remember Hunter?
Yeah. Wait a sec.
He was a pretty big guy. Did he go up in this, or did he go up in the other?
He may have gone up in the Challenger.
The Challenger?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm still not used to this.
Yeah. And it does take just a little bit to kind of get used to the control forces and all that.
Yeah.
You'll find, though, it's a really, really easy airplane to fly. After a while, just real light and easy, almost minute corrections will make it do exactly what you want. Just a piece of cake.
I think Schubert Farms over here. I've raced with them for years.
Yeah.
And
is that the hayfields or is that the farm over here?
they do both of sod for sod farming, and then they started doing some hay and stuff like that for. I think his boy took over one of the circles for a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
And, I'm really impressed with this display here.
Yeah.
That is sure nice to see all the EGTs on it. What cylinders running hot, what cylinders not running so hot.
Right. Right.
Pretty sweet.
And then with the programmable limits, it'll alarm if something gets out of whack.
Yeah.
And so right now the only yellow we have is this 176. That's the front left cylinder, and it's just it's right up there in front, and it runs a little cool.
It runs a little cooler than the others?
So it's actually 180 is the lower limit, so it's actually a little bit in the too cool range.
Okay.
Which is, a rough problem to have, I guess.
Oh, there's a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
But it's not bad. Alright. You want to take back over and head to the airport, or?
I got it. Alright, so we're basically aiming right at the airport. I'm going to do a 360 to drop down some altitude before we get too close. I'm just going to roll some power back here. We'll just do an T360 here and come down 1,000 foot. Make our radio call coming back. Springs East traffic, Sonex 604 Charlie Mike, 4 miles east. We'll be entering on a 45 for downwind 17 Springs East. Springs East traffic, Sonex 604 Charlie Mike, downwind 17, full stop, Springs East. So the flap speed on this is 100, so anything below 100 I can start putting in flaps. I'll put the first notch flaps in. And then put in a little bit of trim.
Find all kinds of things when you get up in the air. Little motocross track right there.
Yeah. You know what always amazes me is how many boats are laying out in farm fields everywhere. They seem to be everywhere. I wouldn't think that southern Colorado would have so many boats.
I tell people that, you know what, Colorado, if we had a beach with some waves, we would have everything.
Yeah. Alright, I'll throw the rest of my trim in. I'll wait to put the rest of the flaps on. The flaps are pretty effective, even with these short flaps, which this airplane has. Oop, bit of a bounce. Oh, I overshot it.
I also need to repaint the rocks around the wind.
That'll get a little too low too. Now this airplane doesn't have a breakaway tailwheel, so it takes a little bit more to turn around.
You like landing on the dirt too?
Yeah, I do. It's just easier on the tires and all that. I think I'm going to turn around right over here. Hopefully I won't get stuck in these any of these little holes. So it's not a terribly large turn radius, but it's just not quite as easy, you know, as where you can just stomp on a brake and spin the tail.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, I still have a tendency just to bring it in just a little bit fast, especially when it's heavy. Yeah, I could have slowed it down. I probably should have slowed it down just a little bit. You notice how we floated for a while.
Yeah.
And then I still had a little too much when we bounced. It was like, well, wasn't quite ready to stop flying yet. But even so, it's a pretty easy, straightforward airplane to land.
So, how aggressive have you been up in the air? What do you,
As far as maneuvering it?
as far as, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone out and done all kinds of aerobatics. I mean, I've done loops and rolls. I've done Cuban-8s and variations and hammerheads and the whole deal. Spins. Yeah, it's a great, fun airplane to go fly aerobatics. And then I normally just pull the fuel valve and let it burn all the fuel out. That way there's no chance of a drip or anything.
And that's it. I'm still not quite up in the air very good. My stomach still gets a little unsettled.
I hope that wasn't too much.
No, it wasn't too much, but for some reason,